Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of College of the Dead, 30-year veteran of publishing comic books and graphic novels and stories and creating characters. And I have been publishing comic books for many years. I have a project on crowdfunding site Indiegogo right now. But what I wanted to do was for some of my friends that publish comic books and they sell it to crowdfunding places like Indiegogo, give them an answer to a question I get a lot, which is how do you sell to comic book stores if you want to sell there as well? So comic book stores have been in business. They were big in the 1980s. They started growing and they grew in the early 90s. And there have been ups and downs, but a lot of comic book stores have been going out of business, but there are still a lot of comic books that are produced by major publishers and small publishers that are sold to comic book stores. The way it works is this. There's one major distributor, and by major, I mean pretty much that's it. There are a couple of very small, unusual little independent distributors, but the main thing and the main entity is Diamond Comic Distributors. I have their website pulled up here, and specifically where they say vendor services, and that is if you're a publisher where you belong, vendor services. So Diamond Comic Distributors, if they decide to do business with you, and they are a fairly big company, and they do work with very small publishers as well. But again, to them, it's all just business. I mean, they do care about comics, but the bottom line is they care about making sure that it looks like it's a realistic business relationship. That said, there's no reason why, if you're interested in doing it, you can't contact them and see if it's a good business fit for you. Based on what you have and what your track record is. If you have none, they could still consider you. Even if you have just a little, they might still consider you. If you have a very successful crowdfunded campaign, they will definitely consider you, and you have a good chance doing business with them. So I'm going to have the link for Diamond Comic Distributors here in the comments below. Sorry, not in the comments, in the description below. And you'll be able to get directly to this page that I'm on right here and look up the details for yourself. Just a quick review. They provide resources here, and this is a good thing. You've got a link on how to submit a project or your company to Diamond Comic Distributors. You have a link to give them press releases, and you'll see, I'm sure, some examples in that link as well, basically so that they can kind of get an idea what your project's going to be like, maybe mention it in some of their promotional material if they really like it. Contacts for printers, and this is good. This is nice. I actually realized I had this up here, although they've had it up here now really for years. I always forget about it. Printers, like even printers you could use even if you don't work with Diamond. So these are printers that Diamond knows are reputable. They might do a couple of thousand copies. They might do larger quantities, and they probably do have some printers on there that are short run. Meaning as little as 50 or 100 copies. That is probably not something that will be viable for sale to comic book stores if the numbers are quite so low, but it could be a good resource for you if you're looking for printers anyway. It's always a good idea as a publisher to have a couple different options for printers, because that's really the fuel in your vehicle, that be able to have access to good printers and look at different prices and different options. Over here too, and this is kind of a thing that's important as well, is having awareness of how they work with barcodes, because they are going to want a barcode on your product. You obviously don't need that if you're selling to crowdfunding, direct to consumer, but you do need it if it's going to be in a retail store, because it's going to be handled by Diamond as a distributor physically, and then they're going to need to be able to quickly check that in and when it's shipped to them, and then reship. So this said, don't think that this is a way to get rich quick. It certainly isn't. But for the people that are very interested in it, it's absolutely worth looking into. This is exactly how you'd go about doing it. You don't need to call them, and certainly don't need to be nervous about it. Just look at these PDF links, select what's appropriate for you, and just get the information. You can always fill out an application. And then they do have ways of contacting them, of course, by phone. It's not like dealing with Amazon where it's hard to get anybody on the phone. You could actually call and ask to speak as a new publisher to them, and they will very likely take the time to give you good information, although, of course, they're going to point you to their prepared templates. So just look at this information first if this is something you think that would be right for you. I definitely recommend at least considering it. So if you have like a graphic novel that's a 100-page graphic novel, for example, you might offer that as 2 48-page graphic novels or something like that, or even 4 single issues through comic book stores. You ideally don't want to sell the same version to comic book stores, particularly if it would be at a lower price to that you just sold on a crowdfunding platform. Just for the idea of making sure you have something exclusive for whoever you sold through crowdfunding, and then it's fine to have something more generic sold through stores. You can talk to other publishers about that as well. And talking about publishers, this is my passion project, College of the Dead. It's 140 pages long. It's black and white. It's a zombie apocalypse story taking place on a college campus where teachers and students really have to fight for their lives as the dead come alive and zombie up, and they kill everybody in sight. It's actually very well written. It's very interesting. There are a couple of different versions that you're able to get. And I suggest highly you check out the site at Indiegogo and look up College of the Dead, or you can go to collegeofthedead.com and it will redirect you right to where it's being available. So go ahead, check it out, and go ahead and check out Diamond and see if you think it's for you. Thanks.